This part of our class on sustainability, ethics, and equity is about the relationship between contemporary military strategy and global warming. Specifically, we've got a question to kick this off. What is the relationship between melting Arctic ice and U.S. national security? And usually people can get this right away. And we've also had the answer in the Joint Forces Command 2010 Joint Operating Environment document passage that we read as part of the assignments today, which says the impact of climate change, specifically global warming, and its potential to cause natural disasters and other harmful phenomena such as rising sea levels has become a concern. Climate change is included as one of the 10 trends most likely to impact the joint force. For example, sea ice has been shrinking dramatically in Arctic regions each summer, and in the future this could open up new shipping routes across archipelagic Canada and northern Russia that could dramatically shorten transit times between Europe and Northeast Asia. Furthermore, shrinking sea ice opens up new areas for natural resource exploitation and may raise tensions between Arctic nations over the demarcation of exclusive economic zones and between Arctic nations and maritime states over the designation of important new waterways as international straits or internal waters. So whereas we may think of global warming as something that is primarily going to be land-based, when the military looks at it, they include that as one of the things that they think about, but they also think about the possibility for really the waterways being reshaped. So it's not necessarily about food shortages being caused by droughts or other kinds of severe weather. It's not necessarily about internal displacement related to rising sea levels, but they're concerned about access to new waterways, new economic zones being fought over, and the potential for possibly different groups that used to be separated by large amounts of Arctic ice coming in closer and closer contact to one another, and that creating frictions. The other thing that I would point out here is that if you do meet global warming skeptics and would like to point them to an authoritative source about climate change and a group who are thinking deeply about it, I would send them to these folks. This is put together by the Joint Chiefs of Staff who run the 4 branches of the military, and I think that they're a very credible source, so hopefully that will do a little bit to blunt the skepticism that you might encounter. I don't think that these folks are being hoodwinked by the scientific establishment. If you'd like to keep a real-time tab on how seriously they're taking this, you can go to this Facebook page for the U.S. Navy Task Force Climate Change and get views into what they're thinking. This is run in part by the oceanographer for the Navy and is something that they're using as an outreach tool to talk about the different programs that they've got going on to work more closely with civilian agencies to create better models, create more immediate models as opposed to long-term models that can be used for thinking about things in the immediate future in terms of climate change and potential problems with that. So what we're going to look at next is a group called the Extreme Ice Survey. What these folks do is put time-lapse cameras in different Arctic areas, leave them there, and knit together all of the photos that are created over time into videos like what you're going to see here. So this is from the Extreme Ice Survey. This is a view into what is causing concern by the Navy. This is the time-lapse video over about an 8-month period of time. Typically what would happen would be that the ice would recede and then rebuild, recede and rebuild, and you'll see the results instead, again, that are being caused by global warming and climate change. So again, this gives you a sense of how quickly these changes are taking place and the seriousness of the changes themselves.